Yeah, sure. And I saw you on some other talks and other podcasts that you mentioned Dr. Weston A. Price, and I read the book like about the teeth and all, and I really like, that's the kind of science that I love, actually, that it looks on our past as humans, like can like see evidence from modern times, although it's 100 years old, but that's like a real science in my eyes. That he also talks about like they consume milk, that many times people in the carnivore community, like you mentioned, like Sean Baker and others, that they do only steak. So he was kind of balancing it. He just, as you said, like it was ancestrally correct. Like what did he saw? Yeah, ancestral appropriate.
And yeah, I love Weston A. Price. I think everyone should read that book. It's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration.
Yeah,
and
nutrition and physical.
It's a huge part of our film. Actually, we have a section about it, and we talk about it. It comes up a lot because it's so important. It's all proven out too, like you said, 100 years ago. He went around the world doing this research, and now it's all being proved out. That's the coolest part of it. It's not like, hey, some guy just like went and looked at some teeth 100 years ago. It's like, no, he kind of figured out so much stuff. He actually looked at these people in a very great, important window in history before they were gone. Like this was a time in history before processed foods entered people's diets. Like this isn't really possible anymore. Pretty much everywhere in the world there is processed food. And so it was a unique time in history before processed foods came into certain places. He was able to visit these cultures all around the world, and he found they were super healthy, amazing teeth, amazing bone structure. Their jaws were wide. They could fit all their teeth. They didn't have dentists. They didn't have braces. They didn't have all that stuff, and they had amazing health and teeth. And really, the teeth are just a window into your health. And so what he found is these cultures didn't have processed foods, and when these processed foods, specifically the sugar, the grains, refined grains, and the seed oils, vegetable oil that came in, once they came into their diet, they lost their health rapidly, right? And so it's very clear that these were the foods causing the problems. And he also observed them eating all the parts of the animal, which is really cool too. Like you mentioned, Sean Baker, yeah, he's just eating the steaks. I mean, I don't think that's great long term. Weston Price found that these cultures, they were very different around the world. They were not connected, right? He was going to Africa. He was going to Australia, the islands in Melanesia. He was going to the Swiss Alps, going everywhere. These people had no contact with each other. They were doing the same things. They were eating the organ meats, right? They're eating the bone marrow, bone broth. They were eating the dairy, the grass-fed dairy. They ate the fat. They ate the seafood, right? They'd be eating the oysters and the entire animal. Like this is all nose to tail eating. That's why I called my company Nose to Tail. But they knew that this was healthy. They learned over generations that this is how they produce healthy kids and healthy pregnant women and all this stuff. So they had all these traditions around pregnancy, especially. And humans are really smart, right? Before we even had all the science, they knew about the nutrient density. Really is what these are. The most nutrient dense foods, the best sources of nutrition were from the animal sources, and especially the organ meats and all the bits and pieces.